It has been 7 years since we've been all together here for an RFR event in Cleveland at the beautiful Playhouse Square, as I call my home away from home. And it's also been 7 years since Star Wars was in theaters. Remember that movie? When we did the event, Skywalker Rises in Ohio? And, yeah, some Rise of Skywalker fans out there? Well, anyway, we're not even going to talk about that. We're going to talk about the future of Star Wars. And I got to ask, did everyone at least see the movie? Yeah. If you're new to Rebel Force Radio, and introductions are in order. And by the way, if you're new to Rebel Force Radio, and you paid $100 to be here, we love you. Introductions are in order. My name is Jason, and with me, as always, my friend goers from Chicago, Jim Mack. Hey, Star Wars.
Welcome to Playhouse Square. We're back. The place hasn't changed a bit, actually, since we were here 7 years ago. And we always come back for a new Star Wars movie. And boy, oh boy, we got ourselves a new Star Wars movie. So we're looking forward to breaking it down, getting a full after-show treatment, from the tail of the tape to listener feedback. And the beautiful thing is, we don't have to open up the phone lines. You guys, if you want to contribute to this show, you'll have an opportunity to actually share your review of the Mandalorian and Grogu as well. So Tyler Page is here. Tyler Page. Take off the shirt. Why do they want you to take off your shirt? Are you ripped?
He looks like Rada the Hutt.
Tyler is ripped.
Tyler is he's doing that MMA stuff.
He sure is.
Yeah. All right. Well, hey, you know what? Before we get into the tail of the tape and all of that, I just want to take a minute to talk about the passing of someone very close to us here at Rebel Force Radio and to a lot of listeners. The great Tom Kane passed away just a few days ago. And Tom, yeah, let's hear it for Tom Kane. An indelible contributor to Star Wars, most notably the voice of Yoda. For many generations, he was the voice of Yoda in the Clone Wars and beyond, and he was the narrator for the Clone Wars, and one of the most fun and funny and just all-around great guy. We are going to pay tribute to him properly on a future episode of RFR, but did not want tonight to go by without just, you know, a lightsaber salute to Tom Kane.
Yeah, that's right. He was a friend of ours here at Rebel Force Radio. We actually did spend considerable time with him off the air. And he was just an all-around great guy. And he was a really wonderful fan ambassador, especially to my own boys who are actually here. Michael Mack and Dylan Mack. How are you guys?
And my family didn't come. And they live here. Truly, I have no family here. And that's not true. I have my work family. There's a number of people in my work family. Hello, work family up there. This is my They're not even strong things. I mean, not some of them are even strong.
Something tells me they're here to stockpile material to use against you. All right. But back to my family, my real family, my actual flesh and blood. I did want to say today is Michael Mack's birthday. Happy birthday, Michael. I love him. He's a great kid. He's a great musician. He's a perfect son. Well, not that. And a great friend, really, most importantly. Both me and my boys are best friends, and I love you boys. Happy birthday.
Very appropriate. This movie is a lot about fatherhood, parenthood, and teaching the next generation. So what do you say we do it? Let's just tail the tape on Mandalorian and Grogu, the motion picture, of course, directed by Jon Favreau. You know him, and written by Jon Favreau, Dave Filoni, and Noah Clore. You know, I saw that name, Noah Clore. Who is he? And Noah Clore has been a writer for Book of Boba Fett and The Mandalorian, has been been part of that writing crew for some time. Here's my little conspiracy theory. I think they needed to credit Noah because there's aspects of season 4 in this film. Because otherwise, I find it hard to believe that you would necessarily need to put, nothing against Noah, but, you know, he's a staff writer on the show. And so I feel like that's something that they did because there were aspects of this film that I think were definitely planned for a season 4 of Mandalorian.
As long as we're doing the tale of the tape,
Yes.
I do want to point out an observation I made during the credits. In the special thanks section, there was a special thanks to Guillermo del Toro, the, of course, Academy Award-winning director, who we know had worked for Lucasfilm for a significant amount of time on a Hutt film, a Jabba the Hutt film that never got made.
That explains some things.
Well, I think so, with the predominance of the Hutts in this film. I think maybe they tapped into some of that material that Guillermo del Toro did.
Can you imagine what a whole movie of that would have been? And I mean, we saw a lot of Hutt.
Spoiler alert, a lot of Hutt.
Yeah.
Spoiler alert.
There's a lot going on.
Spoiler alert, spoiler alert. Did you guys know that that's me on that spoiler alert? That's one of the big mysteries of podcasting.
18 years ago.
Spoiler alert, spoiler.
Well, he said I something like run, spoiler alert, because this is an after show. We gave everybody the warning. You can't come to this not having seen, well, you can, but you're not going to have that much fun, I think.
I'll tell you what's a lot of fun saying spoiler.
Okay, all right.
Spoiler. I love the PA here. We don't often get this. And there's a certain bit of power you add in public addresses.
All right, runtime on the film, 2 hours and 12 minutes. Of course, the release date, which, you know, in all the marketing materials, it was May 22nd, 2026. I spent a week in New York, and I get back, Jenny, the whole RFR family, everyone's seen it like 3 times. This thing came out on Wednesday, and no one told me. Thursday, was it?
Yeah, I think there may have been some special screenings on a Wednesday, but none of mine.
Okay.
Because I would have seen it
Well,
Wednesday.
I've only seen the movie once. Has anybody out here seen it more than one time then? Wow! You all want to just come up here and I'll go out there? Because I've only seen it one time. Yeah, Ludwig Göransson, amazing score. So we got to give him a shout out. Score composer Ludwig Göransson. And again, as I said, the first theatrical Star Wars film since 2019. Now, the $1 million question, Jim. And you get it. This is what everybody was wondering. Does this feel like a movie, or did it feel like a Disney Plus season or part of a season stitched together?
Well, that's an interesting question. And with the amount of money that Disney throws at its shows, that it puts on Disney Plus, that line between theatrical and streaming has become very thin, in my opinion.
Yeah.
I think, though, that they achieved so much more with this film than they could have with a streaming series. Pound for pound, the action in this, the special effects, the scope, the scale, the epic nature of a lot of the sequences, I think surpassed anything we've seen on television. Now, that might get past some people because, like I said, the budgets for these streaming shows have been so insane.
Yeah, this was done for about $150 million, from what I understand. And the Acolyte had, for example, I don't need to be picking on Acolyte, it's just that number that sticks in my head, over $400 million for the show.
Yeah.
And I don't know what they spent the money. Actually, I don't know what they spent the money. I haven't. But, so, yeah, and I know I hear some people that have grumbled and said, yeah, it looks like a TV show. And it's like, this is a spoiled generation. I remember when TV looked like Murder, She Wrote. Right? Like, to say, wow, that looks just like a TV show. I mean, it depends. It's all from a certain point of view, of course. But, so, you would say that it was beyond the Disney Plus experience?
I think so, yeah.
Okay. How many out there would say that it was beyond a Disney Plus experience?
Yeah.
So, I want to point out here, I've got this. This is my little Grogu. And he's like a mood Grogu. So right now, everybody's happy. We're talking about new Star Wars. And Grogu's happy. He's got a big smile on his face. But I know this crowd. I know this Rebel Force Radio fandom. We start going to the dark side. You're going to make Grogu very sad. and he's going to turn green and have a frown on his face. But, you know, we are in a theater, so I thought I would just get in the theater here and just put a little something on there.
Little Phantom of the Opera.
Family opera mask, yeah, for Grogu. That way he can like see half of you hating us. All right, so yeah, we'll take a look at the mood. It'll be like our own mood ring. So right now, I think everything is pretty happy.
We're good.
Right. All
We're
right.
happy Grogu.
We do. Okay. So there were definitely a lot of laughs. There were a lot of surprises. One for you, Jim, and we're going to get into the plot breakdown. I just want some of the high points here. What was your biggest surprise for this movie?
I think the most surprising moment for me in the whole film was the amount of hut-on-hut activity that we got.
Literally.
We've never seen Hutts acting the way they do in this film. You could tell they were very comfortable at home in their natural habitat, and they were
No
just
admissions.
no, they were just letting it all hang out in the most huttiest of ways. I really thought it was awesome when they first walked into that. What is that structure that the huts live in? It looked like this big hollow mound covered with trees. Does StarWars.com have some explanation for us? You guys look that up. We're too busy doing the show. I don't know what that thing was, but when
I don't know. It was their palace.
when Din and Baby Yoda went walking in there, and you look into these alcoves and you see Hutts doing bloody things, it was.
Don't act all innocent. It's not just us. You are all thinking the same thing, weren't you? They were head to tail.
Yes.
And those hut alcoves.
Yeah, there's a perversion factor at play here.
Yeah.
But I mean, if you look at slugs, isn't that what slugs do? They kind of slither around and they,
If they're lucky.
get on top of each other, and slide around. How about that one hut that keeps sliding out?
Yeah. Look at the slide.
There's some legitimately hilarious stuff going on there. And then when there was 3 Hutts fighting at the end of the film, I mean, come on. I was definitely not expecting that. We've never seen those type of characters do much more than just sit around and belch.
Great.
But now we're seeing them brawl and do all of these crazy things.
That's because I'm not like my father.
Wait, was Keanu Reeves not available for that role? That turned him away? You get the twins and like, and then you meet Jabba's son, and he's like,
Whoa. You're a Mandalorian. I'm a fighter.
Do you know how it is to be your own man? You're the son of Jabba the Hutt.
all angsty. That was my biggest surprise, was actually how much we saw of Rod the Hutt. I thought it would be one sequence and then out, but he just kept showing up. Like, you can't get rid of this guy. Yeah, he's going to be a rebel, and I just can't wait for that action figure. He's going to be wearing Zeb's old uniform. And Zeb, too. I mean, I was glad to see Zeb. And I thought he looked great. I really did. I thought the close-ups were amazing. I mean, he looked like he was sitting there on that set. And great to have Steve Bloom back as the voice. That's one thing. There's a lot that Dave Filoni has done is great, but that continuity between the actors and the voices, it really, I think, adds.
Yeah, and it was a great CGI model as well.
Mm-hmm.
To see Zeb in action in the hallways of Lord Janu's mansion as he's running up the walls and stuff, that's sign me up for more of that.
How convenient that the two bad guys ended up being the same guy.
Yeah,
Right, two for the price of one. I mean, Din got the, was the greatest kid. He's like, wait a minute, I don't even need to ask this guy. He's the other guy.
Yeah.
I don't need to wait. Again, we'll get into the plot. Jim, you did not see this on, like, real IMAX, right? Or did you?
I saw the preview in IMAX.
Okay. Did anybody see the whole film in IMAX? Okay. Was it amazing? I mean, it was big. What did the two huts look like? Did you see their? So the sound was really good. Okay. All right. Cool.
That was quite a presentation, because in the Dolby Theater, it's concert-like volume.
Yeah.
That's what Brian Klein, who's here. Bob the Freaks are here, ladies and gentlemen. Brian. And Barry Hopkins here. Where's Barry? Right here. And there's Barry. And Tyler applause for the audience.
Take your shirt off.
We saw the movie in the Dolby Theater, and Brian was sitting next to me, and every time Brian spoke, I come in, you're working, he said, that loud. So I like that theatrical experience where you're in the theater and you really get something you can't get at home. And the Dolby Theater really presents that. I will be seeing it in IMAX though. And I always like the sound system in IMAX.
I'm embarrassed to say Cleveland does not have a real IMAX theater. We have to go all the way to Columbus, I think.
There was one at the Valley View.
It's not real IMAX.
Yeah.
Oh, it's not real.
Crocker has one?
Yep.
Like legit real?
It used to be, I don't know anymore, but yeah.
Okay, because when they did the IMAX preview, I went online and there were 2 places in Ohio, so maybe they just weren't doing the preview. But okay, all right, I'll have to look into that because I wouldn't see it.
You know, you never said what surprised you about the movie.
Well, I thought I did. Did I?
You did?
Oh yeah. How much of a character Ron was?
I see.
Yeah, he was. Yeah,
That surprised.
That surprised me. I mean, in sort of the same way when I saw Rogue One and how Tarkin kept showing up, because I thought that was going to be just a quick. It's very expensive. And long-time listeners of RFR know I'm very picky about my huts. I love practical huts. I don't think they've ever done anything better than the Puppet Lando for Jabba in 1983. It could be my age show, I don't know, but these were pretty good, especially the twins. The amount of movement that they needed for Rada kind of broke up a little bit for me at times, but I appreciate the try. I thought the twins were amazing and the background huts were fantastic. So, some of my hut expectations were met.
Yeah. I mean, I was just impressed that they were able to incorporate such, outside the box type characters into these scenes. I thought they did a pretty seamless job of it. Again, these are characters we've only seen just sitting around after all these years, and now they're really part of the action, and I appreciate that.
Yeah, I think they embraced the weird in this movie, which is something I think is really important. I think obviously George did that. He had stormtroopers riding on giant lizards. He said some things you do for creative reasons, other things you do just for whimsy, and that's a whimsical choice. And I love that there were a lot of those whimsical choices in this movie.
And it was unapologetic about the weird. It didn't waste time explaining to us why it's weird. Why let's have repurposed battle droids working as security for them? I thought that's weird.
Cool. I thought that.
But they didn't explain it. But who cares?
I think it's because huts are cheap. And at that point in the galaxy, I mean, how long are those battle droids by now?
Right. Yeah,
So,
it's decades old for sure.
Exactly. All right, well, let's get into some of the plot points and kind of walk through the story. No crawl, and we knew that. I think that sort of leaked out. Jim, should there have been a crawl?
I would say no, because the TV show traditionally never had a crawl.
Right.
And I felt like the introduction was pretty consistent with the TV show. And the crawl was fine, the 2 paragraphs or whatever, just to get people up to speed. I think the crawl should be preserved for saga films. So if they launch a new trilogy, and not necessarily even the Roman numeral numbered trilogy entries, I would just, if they start to really build a new saga again, then put the crawl in there with all the bells and whistles. But this is Mandalorian, so I think it should stay in its lane. And through, it matched the tone, the vibe, and the flavor of the TV show, which I think is important. I think if they went too far off in some other direction, just to prove itself as a movie element worthy of a major motion picture, I think that we would have been balking at that. So, well, why did they make it so different, not like the TV show?
Oh, yeah, right.
I think that consistency is important.
I agree, and I think that not doing a crawl was a good call because they have to, like you said, when they start to get into, hopefully, what we would consider like saga films, proper saga films. I think that's going to set it apart, and we know that it should be saved for when we see, episode, hopefully episode 10.
Maybe.
Simon Kinberg trilogy, maybe?
Maybe. The Kinberg, yes.
Yeah.
I heard something today, I think it was Variety that was reporting, or the Hollywood Reporter, saying that sources within Lucasfilm said they have a direction plotted out for the future of the franchise.
Why do they make statements like this?
And
They stop themselves.
and they're deep into developing the next era of Star Wars. And I think they're specifically talking about the Simon Kinberg trilogy.
Okay. All right. I'm with that. I think they need to stop making these promises. Like, we figured it out finally. Or there's going to be a Lando TV show. Like, just stop. Because, I think that it causes fans to become cynical. It's not that we, most of us are grown-ups. That kid's not, but most of us are grown-ups. You'll learn this, that, look, things happen. We see it in our day-to-day lives, our day-to-day jobs, best laid plans, right? But the difference is we don't go around necessarily making big public proclamations and statements about what we're doing. I would just rather than, as a fan, I'd rather not know every little thing they're thinking about doing.
They shouldn't announce anything unless it's really in production.
In the theater.
They're ready to show a trailer. They should have a trailer ready for anything they announce.
Remember they did that celebration? They had a Boba Fett trailer for that film, ready to go. It was like a little teaser. Do you all remember that?
Yeah. Well, you don't remember it because
They pulled it.
they said Josh Trank home.
Right.
Because
He was drawing.
no,
Right. All right. So let's talk about the movie. Opening sequence, very James Bond. I like that they started it with something that will allow them to build and have further adventures, and that really was. I'll be honest with you guys. I was thinking cameos out the wazoo. We'll talk about who we saw, who we didn't see in the film. I was thinking that they were going to lead the way to Thrawn. They were going to somehow find a way to set up season 2 of Ahsoka. And when I read the preview of that opening sequence and understood how they were opening the film, where they were plopping you down in a new adventure of Mando and Grogu, that's when it clicked to me. None of that other stuff is going to happen. This is truly a standalone adventure. Wow, all right. Standalone adventure gets very happy Grogu right now. Grogu meter.
For me, it was the John Favreau statement that he made a few weeks ago when he said that Filoni's Ahsoka show is going to deal with big picture stuff.
Right.
Whereas The Mandalorian and Grogu was going to be a standalone, one-off adventure, and that's exactly what it was. And there was no expansion of the overarching mythology. There was no real revelations or game-changing moments for any of the characters. No, they maintained a consistency throughout.
Yes.
Mandalorian and Grogu are the same exact characters they were at the beginning of the movie that they were at the end.
I disagree.
Okay?
I disagree. I think the moment that Din puts Grogu on his lap, let me demonstrate.
There you go. This is a recreation.
All right, so
This is not to be confused with the movie itself. I just want to let you guys know. It might be so convincing you don't think you're in the movie.
So we saw Din admonish sweet
baby.
several times throughout the film. Don't do this, don't touch that. But at the end, he lets him come up, he puts him in his lap, and he starts to teach him how to fly the ship. I think that actually is An evolution in the character. I think that the character's grown.
Okay. Rather flimsy,
I don't normally score points, folks, but I think I scored a point. He doesn't give me credit very often. I think I might have scored a point. But Jim, that opening sequence, the Bond comparisons are there just because of the way, you know, you finish up a mission, Mando's finishing up a mission, he meets M, in this case it's Colonel Ward, Sigourney Weaver, he even got Felix Leiter, Zamorelius that comes flying in and helping him out. So,
instead of the Aston Martin, they present him with the Razor crest.
that was even very Bond, I thought. Yeah, how many times have we seen the various iterations of Bond get into Aston Martin? It happens. And by the way, I know that some people, I guess you're the ones that backed that HasLab, that really expensive Razor crest, and they're all pissed off about it. We did, right? I think it's great. He needs that. That is like his Aston Martin. So I was so happy to see that ship come back.
Yeah.
And he can call it the Razor. He never mentions the name.
Also, Razor crest.
He does?
Yeah.
So it just becomes the Razor.
It is what it is.
Okay. I think he deserved it. But yeah, so I thought that the way that it opened, it told me what we were. Oh, they're arguing. They're literally arguing over the hassle. I know, obviously, you spend $500.
This would be a Star Wars fan gathering. We all started fighting.
Is this what you're on? Like when you're just listening to the show?
Yeah.
How can we like add, some fuel to the fire?
Right.
Tyler over there with the microphone. Yeah, you can talk about HasLab when Tyler comes around. Yeah, so the opening sequence I thought was great. I mean, the AT-ATs, of course. I mean, what can you say about that? I think you mentioned, Jim, when you saw the preview, some of the best, or maybe the very best AT-AT action that you ever saw. I would agree with that. I thought it felt so big, it felt so epic. Really no complaints at all about the opening sequence. By the end of that, I was like, okay, strap in, we're going for a really, really fun ride. Then things start to get a little bit long. For me. So there's a new mission. If Mando wants the ship, and that's pretty clever of Ward to dangle that ship. Right? How hard did it take and how long for him to find that perfect little bait to put on the hook? An offer he definitely couldn't refuse. You get the ship if you go to the Hutt twins and help them, or get information about Commander Coin. They'll give that information if he finds Rada the Hutt. And he's very reluctant about agreeing to work with the Hutts. I'm trying to remember, does Din have a lot of history with the Hutts?
None that we're really aware of.
Is there a comic book?
No, there are very few Mandalorian spin-off stories, really, if any.
Is there a visual guide?
There's been those. There has been those. So, yeah, maybe in one of those visual guides it tells you about the whole history he had with the Hunts, but none that we're, obviously aware of.
Well, I mean, we heard it in episode 1. We can't go there, the Hutts are gangsters.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, so they don't have a great reputation across the galaxy.
Of course. They're Hunts.
Right. But at this point, Din feels like he's not all in. It still feels like he picks and chooses the things that he wants to do. Why do you think he's not all in with the New Republic at this point?
Oh, wow. Now, see, that's a really good question.
I'm good at this.
Well, he has a background as an independent bounty hunter, somebody who would be contracted for hire, and he's used to picking and choosing what he wants to do. So that's already part of his routine. And it seems like he has a foot out the door already anyway. He's semi-retired at this point, and picks and chooses what work he wants to do. So if sounds like it's something he doesn't want to do, he won't do it. Right. And that sounded like that was the case with this particular mission with the Hutts.
Yeah.
But he ended up taking it because he liked that ride. He wanted that ride.
Wanted
So,
to ship.
yeah, the payment was suitable, so I like how he just went off on the mission without saying yes or no. He just took the ship and off he went.
Right.
You should trust him a lot.
Yeah, I noticed that. He never even confirmed that he was going to go. He just
Yeah.
hopped in there and took off.
Just took off.
I guess when she saw that the ship wasn't there, she assumed, hoped, I guess, that he was doing it.
Right.
He just would have just left.
He could just gone back to Navarro, hunted, and had a lazy weekend.
That'd have been a really bad movie.
Yeah. Isn't anything gonna happen? No, he's
No,
just
that's fishing.
Just a lazy weekend, what are you gonna do?
Yeah. So he goes off and we meet the Hutt twins, and their explanation to Din is that he's been kidnapped. Rada has been kidnapped. They don't know where he is, or they have an idea maybe of where they can find him on Shikari. That seems to be the last whereabouts. And they wonder if poor nephew's Ash, because he's part of the family, and he is the last heir of Jabba the Hutt. So, but that's not necessarily the case. So we know that the Hutts cannot be trusted, because the reality is the twins are the ones they want to have the rightful claim to Jabba's empire. What's left of it. And by the way, isn't it currently being run by Boba Fett? That was the other thing that kind of really gave me pause. I know we're going to get to the cameos and who was in and who wasn't, but when they're talking about Jabba's empire, and Rada loves to talk about his dad. So,
I would encourage him.
so there was opportunity for them to, talk about who the daimyo is there and all that. It would have done one of the things that we complained about, which is you had to watch the Book of Boba Fett. And I don't think that anybody wants to make people watch the Book of Boba Fett anymore. It's got great stuff. I mean, you can listen to all the audio shows, they're on YouTube. So I get it, but then again, it's like, does that, when it's necessary, make the storytelling a little bit clunky? Because I'm sitting there with that question in my head, but I guess I'm not the average person going to see this movie. But the Hutt stuff with Jabba, and it wasn't like they didn't want you to be thinking about Jabba, because they mentioned Jabba's name about 150 times, and reminded you that he was a criminal, reminded you that he was a gangster. And there was a lot of stuff like that in this movie where the dialogue felt, hold on.
Jason has like changed the mood.
Sorry, Grogu.
Now he's in a sour.
There was a lot of dialogue where I felt like I was being talked to like I was 7 or 8.
Really?
But, yeah,
Such a.
pretty much all of Sigourney Weaver's lines.
Okay.
I love Sigourney Weaver. She's great, but she was just kind of like kind of an annoying mom.
School teacher, like school teacher.
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah, she kind of over-explained. But no, I love school teachers. And I love moms.
Andrea disagrees? You disagree, Andrea? I saw you say no.
No, not as close.
Not a school teacher.
Okay. Okay. Not a school teacher.
But yeah, so there just seemed to be a little bit of like over-explanation. However, I'm willing to accept that because what I think one of the things that this film was trying to do was make this a fun adventure for families and getting the kids excited and back into Star Wars. And we don't do it. Yeah, we don't do it by shoving a bunch of lore and horror down the throats. And we didn't have that when we were kids because we were watching this, the series unfold from the very beginning. But yeah, Sigourney Weaver character, as much as I love the actress, not wild about her.
Once you get beyond, oh, cool, it's Sigourney Weaver.
Yeah.
Then then she doesn't start ranking very high in your all-time favorite characters.
Yeah.
She was rather stiff. I like they put her.
That's right.
Stiff.
Yeah.
I like they put her. And how many stiff performances have we seen throughout the history of Star Wars? So she almost fits right in. True. But there was a quality about her line delivery that I felt was stilted and stiff. And I thought it was cool they put her in the X-Wing. You gave her a little something else to do.
line she had, because I only saw it once. She had towards the end, it was like, I remember walking away going, this was like a iconic Star Wars line, which was in the X-Wing. Do you remember what it was? And it was the worst delivery I've ever heard of that line. You've heard it before. I gotta go back and see it again. I'm trying to, obviously, see it 500 times. But, yeah, so there were some things that she just didn't land that I was hoping that she would have done better.
Her tagline, though, messy, just messy. I mean, isn't that what she said?
She does, but she says it like 30 seconds after Mando says things got messy.
Yeah, messy.
So, like, you know when you're in a conversation and somehow, like, you get this, like, word worm where you start using the same word over and over, and, like, there were a couple of moments like that. This is super big. This is being very picky, folks. I recognize that. But where, like, they just needed a thesaurus a few times. Let's find another word for messy. Unkept.
When you first walked in and she said messy, I was like, oh my God, she's French. I thought she was saying merci. But no, she was saying messy.
All right, so the Lion Twins, and they set it up, and then goes to Shikari, and something I wanted to mention earlier, those opening credits, that's something that's pretty new to Star Wars. I don't even think Rogue One opened with, like, actor name.
No, we've never seen the credits at the beginning of the Star Wars.
Right, and I was really surprised about how high up on the building Martin Scorsese was. He was like the fourth or fifth line. And by the way, thank you for finally putting Brendan Wayne in the TV. My opinion is he should be above Pedro Pascal because, well, we'll get to Pedro. But what do we have now? 6.5 minutes of unmasked Pedro.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah, and he got top billing.
Voice acting.
Yeah, the voice acting.
And he was in the movie, you could see him at least. The guy who got the second billing was Jeremy Allen White. You don't see him at all. You only hear him. Saying things
Well,
like,
not in the movie.
and he was also known for saying things like,
That's my dad.
we're going to workshop this guy.
Did someone make me a puppet Rada? Have zero with Rada. So they go to Shikari and they meet Hugo Durant. And it looks like the Republic credits are sort of back on top. Like he seems very tempted by the money. It's not like he didn't need anything more real. So I thought that was interesting. Like there's some faith and some hope in the galaxy that this new Republic is working.
yeah, okay.
Just a little detail, yeah.
Yeah, I guess if you're a planet that's firmly part of the New Republic and somebody starts waving that money around, you're down with it. But
Right.
in the Outer Rim, things like that get sometimes frowned upon because they have their own currencies, and when you go to buy something, they need something more real.
Yeah. Well, and what I like too about Shikari is that we've never seen it before. It's brand new, right? It's not in some sort of like galactic encyclopedia that, right? Okay, so Shikari is real. It's real and it's new. Underworld city, criminal markets, cantinas, gambling dens, your kind of place. Jimmy Mack, we meet Hugo Durant, and one of the most kind of anticlimactic reveals. He's like literally on a billboard behind. It's like he's playing at Playhouse Square, Ron in the Hut, and these the twins. Here's the other thing too. If the twins know where Ron is, right, and he's being managed by the Star Wars version of Vince McMahon. Right.
Say moral code.
So, Lord Janu, right? Why didn't the Hutts, work out a deal with him? Why did they need to involve the Republic?
Because I think they're playing both ends against the middle. And they're sort of working. Yeah, that part was a little convoluted and twisted as well. Ding does say something about how he was they were working together.
Yeah, by the end you realize that, yes, that's exactly what they were doing. They were playing the, both groups off of one another.
Right, but Rod of the Hutt, you know, his involvement in that, I mean, like, to what end? Because, you know, it almost seems like Rod is an unnecessary distraction.
Yeah. Well, he's the, what do you call that? The thing that you're chasing at.
The MacGuffin.
MacGuffin. That's kind of what Rod is. He's the MacGuffin that you're chasing, and the plot unfolds around it. But, but there were some surprises because you go to rescue a guy, and he doesn't want to be rescued. So Rod is cool. He's chilling out there. And, you know, he's kind of like a prisoner, and well, he is a prisoner, but he's got that hope that, you know, oh, one more fight, kind of like in Andor, where they're on, it's a prison planet. Oh, see, I don't even need, like,
Yeah, I just yelled it outside.
This is so great. You guys should just come to my house and sit in my basement when I do the show. Narkina 5, where they have this hope, like, oh, one more shift, one more thing, and it's not the case for Rob, for certainly.
Yeah, he likes his life here. He likes the training he's received. He likes his pampered. He gets those.
He's more ripped than Tyler.
Those massage droids. It's those massage droids. That's what it is. Are you telling me you want to take me away from the massage droids? What are you, mad?
Yeah.
Yeah, I would stick around too if I were him.
There was one line, and we were talking about this before the show. We try not to talk a lot about this stuff before we do it in front of you all. But when the twins are talking about Rod, they make a point to say that he's had a bit of a growth spurt, right? Right. And you had a take on that. You thought that might be foreshadowing for another growth spurt, because the context of it was that Hutts lived to be hundreds and hundreds of years old, like your son, in that case, sweet, sweet baby Yoda.
I think that they could be letting us as an audience know that maybe Baby Yoda will go through a growth spurt like that. If there's a species in Star Wars that goes through growth spurts, then it's possible it might happen to Baby Yoda. But would we be happy with losing this character so he evolves into an older version?
Disney stockholders would certainly not, because I think it's the Baby Yoda merchandise that's really propelling this stuff. And, you know, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. But the question is, and one of the things we want to hear from you all about is, how long can you do this? How long can you have this baby character? When will it start getting in the way of the story versus enhancing the story?
Yeah.
So I think that's definitely something we need to be thinking about.
Well, it's the dream, though, for all television producers to have a cutesy kid character who never ages. Because once they start getting older, then you lose your cute kid factor, and you have to bring in Cousin Oliver. What would be the stars of that?
You know what Hollywood used to do? What they did with Gary Coleman and the little Emmanuel Lewis guy, they used to get kids that had like health problems. They prevented them from getting older.
Yeah.
And you people think this looks like a TV show? Not from when I grew up. We had kids with kidney diseases.
Right. And if they did start getting taller, those producers would give those kids a pack of cigarettes. That would have grown spurt real fast. Make them sleep in little beds. It's a tragedy. And then we do have a kid here.
He's not a little kid, he's 38 years old.
Yeah, and he's been getting a lot of cigarettes. But yeah, what do you do? How do you manage that? That's a good question. But in the context of the film itself, by showing us that hologram with the young Rod, you know, as far as a storytelling device, it helps you make that connection between, oh, that's Stinky from the Clone Wars.
Yes.
And
that's where Dave can't help himself. If he has the opportunity to drop a Clone Wars or a Rebels reference, he is going to take it.
yeah.
And that's what Stinky was, I think.
Yeah, and the other thing is they let you know that he'd been kidnapped when he was still in that stinky phase of life. So they took him when he was still an infant.
Reminded me of someone else.
Yeah. So
I think we're happy with that.
they're right. So Rado went on his growth spurt after he was taken captive.
Yeah.
So it obviously must have been some extortion attempt on Java or something.
Right.
Pay up to go get Rada back. And,
So that'd be the second time he was kidnapped, as we know about. What's with this kid?
I mean, Java obviously didn't pay up.
Well, I think he got killed before he had a chance to pay up.
Maybe. Or maybe he just said, no, the kid's not worth it. You know?
Right,
And that's,
Dad!
see, that would have been kind of an interesting dramatic element to,
Oh, he had plenty of angst. He didn't need to add an angle. Dad didn't want me.
yeah, yeah,
No.
yeah.
No.
Hot drama. I love it. Sad hut.
You know,
Abandoned.
I just have to say this out loud because we were just talking to Bill earlier, and we're going to talk to Billy Mack in a minute. I'll save it for Billy Mack.
Yeah, okay.
I'll get to that. Yeah, Billy Mack's here. We got like one move. So Peter is very suspicious about this deal that Rada seems that he's worked out with Lord Janu. So Din confronts Janu in the bar, and Janu, you know that whole trope about when villains in a movie just monologue and tell you the whole plot? I can't figure out why he told Mando that he was going to just kill Rada once the final event. It was almost like, and maybe I'm answering my own question, but I guess maybe it was like, he saw Mando, he's this mercenary, he's this bounty hunter. Hey, you're like me, right? You're just trying to make your way to the galaxy. You're just doing a job. Well, don't worry, I'll do the job. I'm planning to do the job for you. I'm going to take this guy out. Because otherwise, I don't see why he needed to really, give that information up, other than it does allow,
It helps push the story.
it does push the story forward, yeah, but it is one of those that, kind of gave me pause, but like you said, we got to get the movie, we got to get the story forward, and
The
so.
salt thing was weird, I thought. The salt, right? Because, listen, yeah, they had,
Right.
the salt had the value because it was
Right.
rationed on this planet. And this is Chicago.
Yeah.
And, but the way my mind works is I start thinking to myself, boy, those huts are slugs, you know? Have you ever put salt on a slug? They kind of shrivel up and get all weird and stuff. So I thought that maybe he was I thought maybe he was going to put the salt on the slug. We rise and shrivel up and it didn't happen.
Now I'm disappointed. I think they really lost something there.
Mr. Science!
So, they end up both getting captured, and they go into this incredible Dejeric arena sequence, and I thought that was, for me, the highlight of the whole film. I thought just the whole creature feature aspect of it, it was like buckle in and go for a great ride, and these characters were sort of cameos in a way, because we've seen the little models on the Dejeric table. And even the one moment they kind of, did a little tip of the hat to when the one creature picks up the other one, and that was R2's winning move.
Yes.
So I thought that was great. I think that they really gave themselves something in that sequence. Who doesn't love like monsters, running amok on a city like that, and they're making the getaway? Like, I think they set themselves up with a really difficult task to top that later on in the movie. I'm not quite sure they ever do. So I love the Dejeric arena sequence.
The sci-fi geek in me starts questioning, how sentient are these creatures? Are these just beasts, or are they actual?
Did you feel for them, Jim?
Yeah. Are they just like actual individuals? Because they know how to use like weapons and tools and things, and I started thinking to myself, I wonder what the level of sentience is.
Did anybody feel bad for the degenerate
Did
Christians?
anybody need to? I mean, I was crying. I got a few
Yeah.
fans on
Yeah, but you know what, while we're talking about killing things, that opening, we're gonna, I only saw it once, so it's going back and forth, but there were a lot of pretty cold-blooded shootings from the Mandalorian on that initial raid. For shooting troopers in the head. We know that these are, talking about sentient, we know that there are humans in there, they're not clones, which I guess clones were sentient too, but they're like worth half a person. You just grow more, man. A few big test tubes. But yeah, so I mean, he was picking people off big time. And so they were not doing what we've been talking about with the animation, where you get stun, stun blasts and all that. They were really going full bore, I think, on the stakes, at least with the Imperials.
This film really felt like they were taking all the action figures out of the toy box and just putting them all out on the table and having a good old time with them. Without holding back on anything. If the Mando has the suit of armor that has all these gadgets in it, they're going to let him use it and use it to full extent. That's what we want. I've heard some people compare the action in this film to that of a John Wick film. And I think that's really interesting because the movie takes you in different places where it goes from intense, physical, violent action into some comical moments or some really touching moments. Later in the film, the scenes with Din and Baby Yoda. I just thought there was a magical quality to all of that. And then you mix it in with all these incredible action sequences. I thought this film had a pretty hearty mix of a lot of the things that make Star Wars Star Wars. But when I look at the innovation factor, we didn't really get anything in terms of new vehicles. The planets were pretty cool, some of them. The planet Lord Jeddah was on was
Chicago.
Where his mansion was on that beachfront. Was that the same planet? That must have also been Chicago.
Yeah, all of that was.
But they were outside the city there.
Right. The beachfront that looked different than the rest of the show.
Very exciting. I thought that was a really boring sort of environment for Star Wars. But where the innovation does happen, all right, where the innovation does happen is they're taking a lot of the things we're really familiar with from Star Wars, like the mini rig, or or the huts, or the Amman, and they're making them do things we've never seen them do. They're taking these elements of Star Wars and pushing them to their full potential. I've always been rather frustrated. I mean, even the Mandalorian himself is Boba Fett pushed to his full potential. At the end of the day, that's who the Mandalorian is, and that's what this movie does, is it takes certain little things that we've seen over the years in Star Wars a million times, and they're pushing them to new limits, to new areas of activity that we've never seen before. Again, we talked about the huts. We've barely seen huts move in the past. Now we're seeing them brawling, we're seeing them flying speeders, we're seeing them rolling around in those alcoves,
Making little huts.
But I'm sorry, that's a party I wanted to invite. Is that wrong? I don't think so.
So let's talk about the villains in this story because, what's that? Oh, I thought somebody was talking.
You can't let them heckle you that easy. I mean, that guy was clearing his throat. I should have stopped you, bro.
It really did, I know.
I gotta roll through this.
I just got back from New York and, right. And I seen a bunch of great Broadway shows and it was, just dead quiet. And here it was like, yes, when I was leaving the Mandalorian and Grogu. Yeah. So it's lose my train of thought here. So let's talk about the villains. So we've got the double villain of Lord Janu and Commander Cloyne, and it builds on this idea of these remnant Imperial warlords that now their business model is that they're going to take over systems or a collection of systems and shake them down for protection because they know how the galaxy works. And so right now, what we're seeing from the Empire at this stage is they've just been turned into low-level thugs, but we know what else is out there.
Right.
And what's coming, hopefully, with Ahsoka Season 2, the Thrawn is in waiting. But were you hoping or expecting something better for the villain of a Star Wars movie other than kind of these low-level gangsters?
Well, with the case of the Imperials, they were never established really as any kind of thing to be worried about. So in that case, it's almost like they're just picking off bottles lined up on a fence with a rifle or something. It's too easy. We don't have any kind of vested interest in these characters. So who cares if that warlord at the beginning gets killed in the mini rig or Lord Janu gets taken in? Oh, he wants to talk. About what? They don't even tell us. What does he know?
Right.
He has secrets. Secrets about what? They don't tell us. But we assume that those secrets will pay off, like you said, maybe in Ahsoka Season 2. That's not the point of what this movie's all about.
Not at all.
Lord Janu, he's hardly a villain. He's like you said, he's the MacGuffin. And that's what they're pursuing, and then when they bring him in, then the real villains reveal themselves, and that's the Hutts. And the Hutts and Hangouts working for them and all of that. So they are low level, yeah. But the Hutts have been around for a long time, and they run a massive criminal empire. That's a good, we know this, and I think that this little incident on Now Hutt has really done a lot to hamstring the power of the Hutts in the galaxy. This is going to create a power vacuum in places like Tatooine,
Right.
in Hutt space,
Right.
where the Hutts have business, and wherever else Game Lord activity goes on. There's going to be a vacuum. That'll be interesting to see if the storytellers can find dramatic ways to fill the vacuum.
Right. I mean, Colonel Ward really did a 180 when it came to the Hutts. Like, she wanted to protect that relationship. It was valuable information. And then she goes to flying an X-Wing over top of it and just blowing it all to hell.
Yeah. What was that famous line of hers again? Messages.
Yeah, things got a little bit
Too
messy.
messy?
See, just a note for our amazing crew here at Playhouse Square. Daniel's up there. We're going to share this up there. I think we all go to start to get questions or comments or theories. Tyler's going to go around and we'll do that. What do you say about, while Tyler's getting set up, can we tell people about what those stickers were all about?
No. Just hold on to those stickers.
Hold on to those stickers.
Don't get rid of those stickers.
And then on your way out, make sure that you get a wristband from our wonderful Redcoats. Get a wristband because that will get you into the after party of the after show, very meta, over at the Hofbrauhaus. So, yeah, we're going to have a good time. So make sure that you're going to that. Yeah, the Embo character and his trusty companion. I like the dog humor. That was cool. I love Baby Yoda kind of soothing it. I was waiting for that to happen because we saw Grogu do it with the Rancor. He's able to tame the Rancor through the Force, and then was able to do it with Merrick. Not that Merrick. The other Merrick. See, Merrick the Inquisitor is Merrick. And the dog is Merrick. So it's very subtle. But Embo, was, I thought was cool, was interesting, great design. I thought it translated very, very well from animation. But again, in a Star Wars movie that has had some of the biggest and most iconic villains, I gotta be honest, I was expecting a little bit more from the villains that were there. Great point earlier about saying, really, the true villains were the twins. You're absolutely right about that. And everything leading up to it. So I guess in that sense, building up to revealing the villain that we already met, and we didn't necessarily, I mean, it was a twist, but I mean, they're sons of bitches. I mean, they're nuts. So it wasn't, that much of a surprise. But I did struggle on the villain front. I expected something bigger and better, though Elmo did have some cool moments. Not enough. Would be
It really wasn't about the villains at the end of the day, though. It was just a vehicle that put the Mando and Grogu into an adventure together. And it is a situation where I think the villains weren't necessarily the priority in the storytelling.
But is that a good thing? You gotta have a great villain.
Well, don't they say that's always the best way to measure a James Bond film is the quality of the villain?
The quality of the villains.
So-
And so I do think that it fell short there. And if we do continue this metaphor, kind of comparing Bond in these films, that would be my advice for the next one. This was no Scaramanga, right? This was no Goldfinger, for me to keep it on that. This was lame. This was like, I'm trying to think, this is sort of like, give me who's the lame Bond villain in the Roger Moore one when they're in the underwater? Hugo Drax, yeah, this was like Hugo Drax and Moonraker. Thank you for Moonraker. Selection of villains. Tyler, do we have somebody?
Yeah, see, the thing though about developing a great villain is you have to give your audience a reason to hate that villain. And they really didn't give us any reason to hate the Hutts, other than us just knowing they're Hutts. And we know they're despicable to begin with. But
That sounds terribly specious.
well, it is. But I mean, hey, talk to the producers of the film. Don't talk to me. Because I want to, as an audience member, I want to hate the villains before they start to have friction with the protagonists. Because it you're just picking sides. You're not,
Right.
you're not feeling anger toward the.
Like Moff Gideon in Mandalorian.
Yes.
So hateful because he was trying to hurt who?
Sweet baby Yoda.
Yeah. And so every time he was trying to do something, kidnap or hurt baby Yoda, it makes you hate him all the more. And yeah, Yoda does Grogu does get kidnapped. He ends up in that birdcage, which is kind of funny.
Yeah.
By the way, blow that bird away big time.
Yeah, no feathers.
People don't get mad about this, but it does explode in a burst of feathers.
Birds are dumb. I just want to say that. I've always said birds are just dumb. That's my controversial statement.
Emails are already being written. So Tyler, who do we have?
We've got Peter.
We have Tyler.
Are you turned on time?
Yeah.
Here, take this.
1, 2, 1, 2. We got Peter Meiser or Meiser.
Peter Price.
Hey guys, I just wanted to say I liked the movie and thought it was a lot of fun. And I always say this to Jimmy on the Q&As, but you know what I love even more than seeing you guys? Being in the room with these people.
Yeah.
And what a great community. So if you're part of this show, if you're not part of Patreon, you're missing out. You're missing out on events like this weekend, and you're missing out on having a lot of really good friends. So I would say take a look, join, and come out to events like this because it's really something I look forward to, and I know everybody here does too. So thank you.
Yeah, you can buy friends on Patreon. Just go right before it's radio. Do we have another
Yeah, we got
comment here?
who we got? Steve.
Jesse.
So I just want to say that when I went to see the movie, I saw it with Glenn Nelson, who's one of my best friends back home.
Yeah.
Adventure.
Yeah.
And he said going in, you're gonna, I think, take out of this movie what you go into it with.
Mhm.
And he said, if you choose to love it, I think you've got it. And I absolutely loved it. And the best thing for me is my girlfriend has a 7 and a 9-year-old, and the 9-year-old, I keep trying to get into Star Wars, and, the next morning I called them, and the 9-year-old's like, Dad, it's the best movie I've ever seen in my life. That's absolutely what it is.
I really do hope kids get on board with this film. It seems like it's something that when I was a kid, I would really eat this thing up. I don't know what kids are into nowadays, but I hope this does do something to spark a youth movement for Star Wars.
Yeah, I hope so too. And I think, Grogu is a vehicle to that. I mean, he is still very effective with audiences. The audiences we watched it with last night, all the laughs were hitting in the right spot. There was gasps when we thought that he was in danger, and he just, they really got it down. I hope they don't ever replace. I know there's certain shots that are CGI, I get it. But I hope they never replace the practical animatronic model puppet, because there's just such an innocence and a charm. Yes, thank you. Yeah, practical effects.
Boy, they got that little puppet doing all kinds of interesting things. They have Baby Yoda walking really well now.
They do.
I didn't. They had him moving around in season 3, and I was like, it almost like you can almost see the strings. But they have a certain rhythm to how he just motors around now that I really liked. I thought they did a great job making that little puppet Yoda mobile.
I'm glad to hear that the kids are enjoying it. That's what this is for. It's not for old people like me, or you. Especially you. You're so old. No, it's for the kids.
I'm not old, I'm immature.
No, it's for the kids and all of us. And definitely agree with what Jesse just said, where you gotta look at what you're taking into a movie with you. If you're expecting it to move mountains and do all this stuff, and you set expectations like that, you're disappointed. But the point of this show, obviously, is to do exactly that. We're going to nitpick, we're going to take it apart, but it's still Star Wars. It's still amazing. It's still super fun. It still makes you feel like a kid.
Here we go. We've got a representative from the BART community.
Of course, Boston area Rebel Force fan.
That's right, that's right. My question is for you guys is, were you expecting or were surprised that there wasn't a tribute to Carl Weathers?
Yes.
Or even like a brief Karga mention, or do you feel that...
Where's the statue?
Yeah, or
The Playhouse Square.
the actor with another actor for a future show.
Right. Well, we know Star Wars doesn't typically do that. And in the case of Carl Weathers, this is hard to say because I don't want to make it sound like it didn't matter. It mattered a great deal. But I don't feel that the Grief Karga character was so important to the future of the storytelling that you'd have to recast him. I think you can just leave that beautiful performance by Carl in those episodes and the impact he had on the cast and the crew as is. But when they went to Navarro, I thought that was going to be one of the reasons we were going there, was to see, that statue of grief. And so it could have been something that was planned and they just didn't get around to it, or a deleted scene, but I'd like to see it kept in. I didn't keep an eye on the credits. There was nothing for Carl.
Wasn't there an episode of some Star Wars streaming show that they dedicated to Carl Weathers? I'm thinking of the past, like a skeleton. It was skeleton, wasn't it? So I think they kind of already scratched that particular itch, but I mean, he was in The Mandalorian. And I think there should have been at least some line of dialogue to explain his absence.
Yeah.
But I guess it was just deemed unnecessary, or it was something that ended up on the cutting room floor. Because, I mean, really, for this movie itself, it was unnecessary to bring that up. But a little nod to it would have been.
I did see Zeb as not filling the Grief Karga role, but I think it's really important for Mando to have a buddy. I liked that Mando had a buddy with Grief, and I feel like that's kind of where Zeb filled in. I hope over time that those two characters form that relationship, which it seems like they're teetering on that.
I guess Favreau let it slip that Zeb is going to be featured in the Ahsoka season 2. So, all right.
Well, they got the model, yeah.
What I understand, Filoni gave him one chance when I said that too.
You're
not supposed to say that.
Well, you know,
Always emotion is the future.
who do we have, Pat?
We've got Curtis from Omaha.
Curtis.
A small prediction and then a nitpick. The prediction for going forward, I wonder with Rada joining the rebellion, if we're going to have a reunion between Ahsoka and Stinky.
Yeah.
Maybe in Ahsoka season 2, maybe in a future movie, but that would be what, Filoni might want to do.
God, you're so right. That's what Filoni's leading up to. This whole movie, now that we made
And then the nitpick is, and you kind of got to this with Sigourney Weaver.
Yeah.
The yawning nature of a Delphi squadron coming in at the end. I know they did that in Mando season 1 when they blew up the space station in the heist. It's kind of like too easy, I know X-Wings are cool, but
They were fighting like 65-year-old droids.
Yeah.
At that point. I mean, I didn't do the math, you know what I'm saying? Like, it was hardly a fair fight, and we're just wiping out those huts. Not that I'm, pro-hut or anything.
Right.
Just saying.
And this came up earlier in the show. It was mentioned, I think Mando said to Grogu on his back when they first got to Malhada, part of their security was they formed a deal with the droid Gatra, which I don't know if that's some sort of gang or syndicate.
What the hell is a Gatra?
It's when the battle droids mesh with the Infus Nest people and steal their furry jackets. But yeah, like with the turbo lasers and everything, it just seems so easy to just blow up the huts that have been such a big part of Star Wars lore forever. I assume there's still some huts around.
Yeah, that Marlon Brando hut from Clone Wars, I think, is still around. And stuff like that. Eddie G. Robinson, you remember when they did that on Clone Wars? And they gave the huts all like iconic Hollywood actor faces.
That's all I got.
Oh, hey, those are great. Thank you very much. So, we do have some kind of breaking news, a little bit. This was, I think, yesterday's. This came out because there were questions about the cameos in the film, who was in it, who wasn't in it, and we'll just go down the list. So tell me if you think this is a real cameo. Zeb, more than a cameo, but definitely we can consider it a cameo because he's a previous character. And speaking of Filoni chapter, well, he was in that bar, secret bar. Carson Taylor was in there. You mentioned the Amanda Men.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, the Amanda Persons people.
I was a big fan of the appearance of those things.
Oh, yeah.
And that was so real. No Dallas can confirm that I was really pumped up when those Amanda.
They're like cobras, you know?
Who knew they could swim like that? I thought they were just so amazing.
Yeah.
And just the fact
Well,
that
they have a quality, they have a quality.
yeah, they have that quality. But again, another character that we've seen countless numbers of times in Return of the Jedi, the background there, or as the Kenner action figure from back in the day, we all got to know the character, but never ever seen it in action before, in animation or live action.
Right.
And it was so great to see not just one of them, but a whole ton of them. A school of Amani. Do you call them Amani? Is that what?
Yeah, I think that's what
Because I still call them the Amani-Mans.
Yeah.
So
Well, there could be Amanda Louise in there.
but again, a great example of the attitude of this film of just let's take the action figures out of the sandbox, take them to the sandbox and just go crazy with them.
Does Mouse Droid count as a cameo? I don't know. The Mouse Droid.
It was a polar mouse droid, making its
Remnant polar mouse droid.
I look at that warlord, it's like, I'm sitting at reinforcement. Now comes a little mouse.
It's like Mr. Rogers sending the trolley out.
Can't it do any better?
Did we miss any of the cameos? Did you?
Angelians.
What's that? Oh, the Anselans.
The Babu freaks.
You know, I think they're so established. Forgive me. I think they're so established now in with Mando. We've seen them interact with Mando and Baby Yoda before. I wouldn't necessarily call them, in my book, kind of judges cameos.
Yeah, the table.
Doug Chang. Doug Chang was in it? Yeah. One person, please. Where was he?
He was in a scene where Filoni was.
Was he in the cockpit?
No, he was. It was just him floating out in the conversation. They didn't even know they were filming.
Yeah, probably.
Rick Famuyiwa, yes.
Jim Dodge. Yeah, but notice, out of those three that they featured in season 1, where they raided the spaceports, you remember?
Yeah.
The X-Wing all came. You had Filoni, you had Rick Famuyiwa, but you also had Deborah Chow, and she was not present in this movie.
Yes, she was.
She was?
Whoa, I've had people looking for that woman for years now. You think she was in the movie?
That's why it's so important we have these little get-togethers. So we can talk about the movie and clear things up before me and Swank here go back to podcast.
I thought they highlighted her more than Filoni.
I didn't even know this was
Yeah. Yeah, that's embarrassing.
Then a little bit.
Listen to his podcast. All right, so let's talk about who wasn't there. Okay, who wasn't there? No Ahsoka. Richard Markle. The man has passed. No, I have the list right here. Ahsoka, Luke Skywalker. Despite him being in my freaking coloring book, Boba Fett.
Deborah Chow.
Well, Stan.
This is why John calls her Deborah Shoe. Deborah Shoes.
No Bo-Katan.
No Bo.
No Moff Gideon. Now, I know he's dead, but does this mean he's really, truly dead? No. And here's a little weird one. Like, no other Mandalorians at all.
Thank
Not a single.
After season 3,
Yeah,
haven't we had enough? I mean, the show is called The Mandalorian, not Those Darn Mandalorians. So I'm happy. Guys, I've been recently rewatching season 3, and I'm sorry to have just all of those Mandalorians does diminish the special nature of the character. It takes away from the individuality and the special quality of Din Djarin if you have a whole bunch of Mandalorians training on a beach, too.
Yeah. But at the same time, in Malibu, at the same time, the rest of the galaxy treats them as, like with Lord, what's his name? Janice is rare. Yeah, it means something very rare. We spend so much time with them that it's hard for us to put ourselves in that headspace that they are rare. But they were rare in this movie because there were no more. And of course, there was no setup of the Thrawn arc that we know is coming to Ahsoka season 2. So, people have asked Dave Filoni and Jon Favreau about this. And here's what Dave Filoni said. Should I do it?
Yeah.
It's not always about character development. I'll say that. It's about No, because she would be a great character to explain to Grogu a little bit more about his history. So when we find the right reason to have characters intersect, we would definitely do it.
I'm going to read it because I couldn't understand it. So it's not always about character crossovers. It's about the characters and what they're experiencing. We brought Ahsoka into The Mandalorian originally because she would be a great character to explain to Grogu a bit more about his history. So when we find the right reason to have characters intersect, we definitely do it. Is that what you read?
Okay, now we go to Favreau, because that was Dave, and then here's what Favreau.
Here's what Favreau said. When we were discussing a fourth season of The Mandalorian, which was put on hold, and then the idea of doing a theatrical presentation, it changed the way we approached how interconnected things should be. A fourth season of a show would have assumed that you saw 3 seasons previously, and frankly, everything else on Disney Plus. That's the nature of a serialized, long-form TV story, is what Favreau says.
Yeah.
At least in the streaming age, she's right.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's a lot packed into that, because he's talking about, they're doing a fourth season of they were doing a fourth season of Mandalorian. They pivot, they put it on hold, they do the movie. So, and when they decided to do the movie, he was told to do the movie, they pulled out all that interconnectivity, right, so they could have something that would stand alone and be a new entry point in the Star Wars. And I do think that that's what, at the end of the day, what this was about. It was creating a new on-ramp in theaters for this franchise.
Yeah, that could be a happy incident that happens with this film, but what the real purpose of this film was, it was the only thing that they could get ready and it made into a movie in time for 2026.
Yeah.
It was just they got to a point where they said we have to have a movie in the theaters in 2026. Kathleen Kennedy announced 3 movies in April 2023. A Filoni standalone film that will never happen. The James Mangold film, which is about the Dawn of the Jedi, which will never happen. And the Charmin Shinoy Ray film, which will never happen. So they're at the end of 2023 saying we better have a movie in the theaters by 2026. Well, they had everything in place for The Mandalorian. They had cast, they had the wardrobe, they had all
Everything, they had like Camp Mandalorian. If you watch a lot of the publicity stuff that John was doing, he was taking a lot of influencers and people through that whole camp. That's where they filmed the TV show. They had it all. He's showing off the costumes, the props, and all of that. And they had it right there. So this was never really about developing anything new.
Exactly. It's a placeholder. It's just something there to tide us over until they have the next era of Star Wars ready to launch. Which I'm predicting, after Star Wars Starfighter, it's going to be the Simon Kinberg trilogy that's been in the works for a long time. And with that film, you'll get your crawl, you'll get your everything you want and expect from the Star Wars saga.
Tyler, who do we have? Anyway.
We've got RFR VIP legend Ben Stein.
The only RFR VIP Ben Stein I know of right now. But I saw it with my 23-year-old kid, Finley, and I yesterday. We both really enjoyed it. And I really liked when we paid tribute to films and filmmakers. So my dad took me to see the original Star Wars in 1977, but before that, my dad exposed me to, he grew up in the 30s and 40s, on public television, the Flash Gordon movie series. And I saw instant references, like as soon as like the spacecraft like landing on Al Hutta, like with the exhaust, it was so Flash Gordon. And the other thing was, I love the Jarek, sequence as well. And so when my kid was really young, I showed Ray Harryhausen. And it was a big influence, of course, with Phil Tippett. And so my kid Finley went to film school and does visual effects today. And for like cable TV and everything. that, yeah, it's a very common story. A lot of people like go into visual effects. They saw Ray Harryhausen as a kid. So if there's any like parents out there that want their kids to go into visual effects, show them Ray Harryhausen. But I saw those, you know, I thought a lot of Ray Harryhausen as well in that movie.
Yeah.
And of course, Ray Harryhausen was a guy who really did a lot with that stop motion photography. And Phil Tippett was a protege, well, from a distance. I'm sure that Harryhausen was like a mad influence on him. And Phil has become the foremost in the world at the stop motion animation, which is really a dying craft. I mean, nowadays everything's done via digital effects, but in the Mandalorian film, we got to see Phil Tippett's work with those big steampunk droids that were protecting the huts. They were all animated via stop motion photography by Phil Tippett. And if you've ever seen this movie, Mad Guy, that's the one, two claps. Hey, it's not a movie for everyone. It's pretty.
Do you two know each other?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
They saw the movie.
Oh, yeah.
They went together. But he made a whole movie of stop motion animation, and it's really wild and out there and a little gross and stuff like that. But he's a master of craft, so I'm glad that they let him do some of that old school work. He, of course, is the guy who brought the Tauntauns and the AT-ATs to life back in the Empire Strikes Back era, and he's a legend at ILM. And so it's really cool to see his work in this movie, because I really dug those giant droids. Who do we got, Tyler?
From Columbus.
Columbus. All right.
So you gotta realize, I was just at the Lennox Theater last night, so back at your old haunt.
Oh, yeah. My
It's a little run down, but it happened.
Oh, that's so sad.
Yeah.
It all happened when I left.
Is that where we saw Fanboys?
We did see Fanboys there. That's right.
Yeah, there was a special screening of Fanboys in Columbus back in the day, and Kyle Newman came into town, and I drove out here and hung out with Jason, and it's all because the writer of Fanboys is a guy named Ernie Klein. Klein.
Yeah.
Ernest Klein. And,
Yeah, Ready Player One.
I went to go buy Ready Player One, and I said, "Do you have Ready Player One by Ernie Klein?" And the lady looked at me and she said, "Ernest." And I was, I didn't want to go, well, I know him as Ernie, but we do know him, and he's a friend of the show, and he's from Columbus. And that's why we had a special screening of Fanboys there back in 2009.
I'm still kicking myself because I didn't go to that. That's when I was just.
It's too
Thank you
bad.
for being here. Yes.
Yeah.
Well, I wanted to talk about Rod. A couple of observations. How quickly they got us sympathetic to Hutz. Just in a few minutes in talking, him listening to his story. Yeah. You really. Yeah. Well, we grew up hating Hutz, and he made us, at least made me feel sympathetic to him.
Yeah,
and he's playing with Grogu on the beach. Who can't? Who's going to resist
Oh,
that?
the scene on the bridge when they were playing together.
What's the matter? I like this.
I loved it.
Stop it. You were not. You're knocking those. You actually like that scene.
I loved it. I think they should have had like a really beautiful song playing.
Don't believe him. He's lying. He is lying. That's not all because he's mocking us. The real Grogu fan. The true believers.
But I think they had this opportunity when Grogu saves Rada using the Force.
Yeah.
Because he should have, I think Rada should have said, I knew Ahsoka, she was a Jedi, you must be a Jedi, or something, some tie-in to that. I think they
Does Rada remember Ahsoka? Remember, he was just an infant.
Yeah.
What do you
He's like a little tadpole.
Not much, but this is Star Wars. I thought.
Yeah, right.
I knew someone like you. Yeah, I mean, if anyone would have had a reaction to Baby Yoda Grogu using that kind of horsepower, I could see that coming from Rod. That would have been a nice little touch, actually. Maybe not the Ahsoka thing, but wow, he's a good Jedi.
All right, I want to talk about something real quick here. it's the scene in the middle of the film, right before the big action happens, when Din gets injured.
Yes.
He's out cold.
My wife's sick.
It all becomes the dragon's snake. Oh, David Cardale had nothing to do with it. Thank God. Pretty good night. It's that sequence when he's nursing Din back. Yeah, it's just like this nice quiet moment in the middle of the film, right before some big badass action happens.
I love that sequence.
Did you like that?
I did, and I love the old man, fisherman, on the dock with his creepy rocking chair, and I loved it. I loved it that Grogu was able to find, in a galaxy that's very, very scary, kindness out there. I thought that was really, really important. I'm so glad that he didn't become like a bad guy or something, that he just was what he appeared to be, on the surface. Tyler, you got the mic?
Yeah.
What was the thing you noticed about the old fisherman guy?
He says he thinks.
Yeah.
He thinks.
Yeah, very Guggen, you might say. But again, they're all aquatics, so,
Yeah, but the Gungans don't say thanks. They say Lisa tanking. So I don't see the connection there.
All right, I lost that point. Tyler, he's right.
Yeah, he is.
Yeah, sit down.
But I just really enjoyed that moment. I thought it was beautifully animated. It was like all of it was animated.
Gave Din the opportunity that he takes at the end of the film to realize that his son is growing up and he's capable of a lot more. I think that's why he puts him on his lap and lets him steer the ship.
Yeah, and I love that. I loved all of the real, loving moments between Baby Yoda and the Mando.
I don't know if he was rapping on his helmet.
Yeah, well, that was fun. But I think when he was nursing him and he gave him that medicine that the fisherman gave him.
Yeah.
And then he just kind of snuggled up with him in there. I'm kind of even getting a little,
I just see Baby Yoda. He cuddles with the Anzellans. He cuddles with the... Remember when he was sleeping on Rada's chest? That was pretty cool.
That was good. That was,
Yeah.
all of these little moments are just so great. And, go ahead, turn it back to our mood, Baby Yoda's positive once again. But that's interesting. I thought that you might have not cared for that part.
What do you think I am?
Well, just because it slowed the pace.
It did slow the pace. But you know what? I was ready for it at that point.
Yeah,
I didn't have a problem with the pacing. My biggest problem is just with some of the plot machinations and the logic, because that's how I think. And but no, pacing wise, I thought it was great. It clocks in it. Probably, I think it's the shortest Star Wars film, 2 hours and 12 minutes. Does anybody dispute that?
No. New Hope was probably shorter.
Is it really?
Yeah, I think so.
Shorter than 212.
I think so.
The special edition. They added a lot of the Clone Wars movie. Okay, we're gonna go there. Sure. That makes you feel better. Clone Wars movie. All right, we want to bring up a very special guest. We love when we can have him here. I especially love it when he can come to my hometown. So let's bring him up. He's like a brother to Jimmy Mac. Ladies and gentlemen, Billy Mac.
Billy Mac. He's windy. This is a large winter. It's a lot bigger. It's a lot bigger than the podcast studio in here. So.
Yeah, so what's going on?
What does it look like? What's going on? What's going on? Oh no, hanging out, I guess. It's Michael's birthday.
Happy birthday, Michael. I'm
can I forget? I found out about him right after I saw episode 1. Found out I was a member right after.
Oh, that's right. Michael was born 4 days after the release of the Phantom Menace.
Yeah. Family stuff is great. Bill.
Yes, sir.
So the movie now, your fandom. What I really appreciate about your fandom is that I think it's a good balance between really being in the know, but also being somewhat out of the loop, or allowing yourself to take kind of breaks from things. So, how did this movie find you as somebody who's not living and breathing every little story and snippet that we hear in advance?
Well, I mean, I do keep up with the franchise. I wasn't really following this movie in terms of like spoilers, so I went in pretty fresh. I mean, of course, I watched the TV show, but I really wasn't expecting anything. So I was pretty much with a blank slate. I didn't know what it was going to be about. So I was actually pretty entertained by it. I think because of that, low expectations. It's kind of a motto of mine.
What a ringing endorsement.
It's a good way to go. I mean, it really is a good way to go through life if you think about it.
What a depressing thing to say. Have no expectations, people. You'll be very happy.
Yeah, keep your expectations low, and you're not gonna be disappointed. So that's really
That's really
lower.
That's kind of the theme of our relationship as brothers, too. Keep the expectations low for each other.
Yeah, and so for you,
We're still getting along.
since you went in there with low expectations, I mean, so you were not expecting there to be, lots of cameos and maybe setting up the next big arc or anything like that?
No, I mean, I to be honest, I was surprised there weren't more characters from the show. I was expecting, to see some of that, but I did like what I saw because I felt it was just one spectacle after the other. When I was a kid, the things that most stuck with me in seeing Star Wars were the cantina, Jabba's palace, the trash compactor. So you guys were talking about it sticking to the weird or bringing back the weird or whatever it was you said. And so I definitely liked that aspect of it. A limitation though, if I can just jump to that, one thing though that I did feel after a while though is that, when you're in the trash compactor for so long, there is a little bit of a limitation in terms of humanity. It's just, you're looking at creatures the whole time. And, it's a very risky thing to do a movie where a guy is in a helmet the whole time.
Right.
So, but, all things considered, they really pull it off. They make this little Grogu reminds me of like, cats I own and stuff. The lovability thing. I say there is a bit of a lack of humanity, but I didn't say there's no humanity. It does, they do really, it's amazing what they're able to pull
They
off.
find humanity in these inhuman things, and I think that's a great way to teach us to be better humans. And how can we be as anything but loving and sympathetic and kind?
My mom got me one of these.
Are you kidding?
You
You're going to baby Yoda?
Well, no, it's a little. He's one mood. I got him for Valentine's Day.
What kind of a mood is he in for
Valentine's
that?
He's a loving mood.
Covering his ears.
His heart's coming out.
Hey, speaking of nerve and loving characters, you're often associated with a loving character who is soft.
He's soft, all right. Did you
Well,
we a lot of fans want to let their felt be felt.
I didn't bring him this time. I'm sorry.
I could have sworn I saw him here at the theater complex earlier today. I saw him right over there, as a matter of fact, earlier. And he said, if you need me, I will be here. Oh, but only if you need me. And he said, not first. Definitely not
first. He said, if the shack is rockin', don't pull a knockin'. But,
Well, wait, I do think I see him down there. Wait, hold on. So I check this out.
you think?
What's he doing down there?
Well, he's been busy.
I bet.
He's been busy.
Watching some of that Hut footage from the movie on Hut Hub.
Oh, boy.
You think he's worried?
Ladies and gentlemen, it's Puppet Lando.
This is so unexpected.
How you doing, everybody? Are you still hanging around with these losers?
Hey,
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 good to
Puppet
see you guys. I
Lando.
don't think I've seen you since Rancho Obi-Wan.
That's right.
Woo! I recommend everybody become a member.
So, Puppet Lando, did you have a chance to see the Mandalorian and Grogu? And if you did, what did you think?
Yeah, I caught a late show last night. You know, I of course it didn't have, I mean, it's got Grogu in it. He's pretty cute, but he's no Lando. I would have liked to have seen a little bit more sexiness.
So you're saying the film wasn't sexy enough?
Oh, we got no Bo Katan, we got no Shenik Fan, or whatever her name is. I'll tell you what, I wouldn't have minded seeing a little bit more of that Lizzo.
All right.
It's a lot of love.
So is that review thumbs up or thumbs down, Puppet Lando?
Well, I gotta give it a thumbs up.
All right. And that's impressive because I'm not sure if you have thumbs actually.
Well, I got a lot of felt, and I'm happy to tell you about it if you'll give me a chance.
Well, are you saying you'd like to maybe sing a song about your felt?
Woo! Well, who all would like to hear me sing one of my famous hits? All right, Jimmy, you got my music tracks ready to go? Why don't you hit it?
Well, I didn't know you were going to be here, so I didn't bring any of your music.
Oh, well, you're in luck because I never leave home without two things. First one is Colt 45. Works every time. And the second, of course, is my music director, Jeff. Are you out there, Jeff?
Is Jeff Ulysses in the house?
Jeff,
There he is. Ladies and gentlemen, it's the music director, Puppet Lando's music director, the man behind such hits as I Want My Felt to Be Felt, Buckle Up Baby. What else? What other numbers have you done, Puppet Lando?
Well, once Jeff gets up here, we might be able to hear a few of the Lando stylings.
So Jeff, we have a keyboard here, and
coincidentally,
yeah,
we weren't planning this at all.
And since you are the music director, I was just wondering if maybe you and Puppet Lando could perform something for us.
Gone through the trouble of bringing the instruments.
Yeah, we did.
Yeah.
All right. So, ladies and gentlemen, Jeff Ulysses, music director, Puppet Lando, Puppet. And here they are to perform a medley of Puppet Lando hits.
You ready?
Well, I'm ready. Hit it, Jeff. I was born ready. Now, how you all doing tonight? Oh, you look absolutely beautiful. Now, you truly belong here with us, among the clouds. Buckle up, baby. We're going for a ride. Buckle up, baby. Just sit here at my side. Adventure's calling us, so baby, buckle up. We'll travel down the Castle Run in only 12 parsecs. Then we'll go to my private moon, where we'll have lots of fun. I walked into the club, minding my business, having no idea you were near. I saw you at the bar, loveliest by far. Hello, what have we here? No matter the time of day, location, or the weather, it seems that the universe keeps trying to put us together. I was lying in bed, resting my head, dreaming I was holding you near. I opened up my eyes, what a fine surprise. Hello, what have we here? You know, it's not all smiles for old Puppet Lando. Sometimes things go sideways. It's one of those times. Once I had it all, a city in the clouds. I was a responsible leader in his prime. And then along came Lord Vader. I guess I'll see you later. This deal keeps getting worse all the time. Now we're going back to my first big hit. You may recognize this one. You look so tantalizing, my temperature is rising, and if it gets much hotter, I think I'll probably melt. Before it gets much worse, I need you to play my nurse, because baby, I want my felt to be felt. Yeah, you know it. Some ladies love the touch of a soft cashmere. And some satin be held near. And some ladies love the touch of a black silk dress. But felt's the fabric that can love you best. Now I go on grand adventures and I bring home fancy treasures, but my best adventures happen just below the belt. Thank you very much. Before the night is through, you'll find adventure too. Because baby, I want my felt to be felt a little higher, just a little higher. Baby, I want my felt to be felt. I told you we would do it. Baby, I want my felt to be felt.
Amazing. Thank you, Jeff. Jeff, you're listening, ladies and gentlemen. Puppet Lando's musical director. Great job. Great job. Awesome.
All right, did everybody get a sticker, right? Everybody got their stickers for Horse Movie Festival?
Okay.
Now, the reason why everybody got it, and Jimmy Max can tell us why.
So you guys might have noticed we have some monsters here on the stage with us, Mandalorian monsters to be exact. These are from our friends at BarkBox. BarkBox teamed up with Star Wars to launch XXXL interactive dog toys.
Can't scrub through this commercial.
Inspired by the Mandalorian, made for devoted fans and their equally devoted pups. Each toy is a 4-in-1 giant plush with multiple speakers built for epic play. Dogs can burrow, hunt, and rescue hidden characters. There's little treat pockets that turn playtime into rewarding seek and find missions. The collection features 2 legendary beasts: the Mythosaur, a colossal creature hiding stealthy companions like Din Djarin, Catan, and Mythosaur. So I guess there's stuff in here. So you have the Mythosaur, ladies and gentlemen. It's squeeze. All right, so there's pouches here. It's like a Velcro pouch. Inside, I have a Mythosaur suit. Din Djarin. And Bo-Katan. You'll find her in the movie, but you find them stuffed inside this Mythosaur. So, and then the other one is a great dragon, and it has a Jawa, a Tusken Raider, and a Bantha. So these are made in very limited quantities, and they value at about $100, and they're made for fans obsessed with Star Wars and their dogs. Okay? So,
I don't want to say what my dog can do with that.
So, the folks at BarkBox have given us these to give away to you guys.
Yeah.
What was that?
So everybody that got a sticker, pull it out right now. And you would look at the number. These were hand numbered by Tyler. I watched him do it.
Oh, and speaking of which, Tyler, come up here.
Ladies and gentlemen, Tyler Page. He is
Why does everyone keep asking Tyler to take his shirt off? I need to know. Who's saying that? Who's yelling that? Point to. Put me in an Suds! What's going on between you and Tyler that you want to see him disrobe? Explain. I'm barely with you now.
So, okay, let's talk about the Mythosaur. We just thought it would be nice because he's a dog lover like me and Jason are. And we decided to thank you for all the work you've done for us. Mythosaur to Tyler. We love Tyler. But we still have 3 to give away now.
Yeah, we do.
And we want you guys to have them. So we're going to pick numbers at random
through the number generator, courtesy of Google.
Totally random, and you guys all have those stickers. There's numbers on the back of them. And I just want to say that people who regularly appear on Pro Force Radio shows are ineligible to.
That's you, Chris Mont.
That's you.
All right, so I'm going to burn off a couple of numbers here. Generate, no. Okay.
There we go.
So, burned off 3, and here we go. The first winner is number 61.
Do we have 61?
Well, we know who didn't win. Who has 61? Anybody?
61?
6-1.
61.
We'll go to the next one. This is your last call, 61.
61.
All right, here we go. 131.
There we go. Mythosaur, what's your name? What's your name?
Logan.
Logan? Congrats, Logan.
Thank you.
Logan, give him Mythosaur.
Hey, Logan, do you mind me asking you a personal question? What's your shoe size? 10.5.
Do we have any 12s? Oh, not 12s.
Over here.
Okay, do we have any 13s?
13?
I'm gonna give Marty, we're cleaning out the prize closet.
Yeah.
I have Star Wars shoes.
Whoa. Yeah, these are collector's items, folks.
And these are from Kiriuma. I'll just show you them real fast, and then you can.
There's a certificate of authenticity.
Oh,
what are those?
These are the 13s. Damn. So they'll go to Marty. Marty is part of the VIP on Patreon and one of our greatest supporters. Awesome. So we love. All right, who's good? We still have.
Oh, we have another pair.
I gave you the right size, didn't I, Marty? 13. I have the 13s here. So these are cool. These are like suede. And I think they're really awesome. I keep them for myself, but they're just a little too small. But look at these cool stores.
Ooh, it's like you're going into hyperspace. The feet off.
This from Kiriuma. Who's our 13?
13?
Who's our 13? 13. Who's
Oh, no, these are 12.
Wait,
These are 12, Jim.
Those are 12. Did I give you the 13?
Which you have, the 13 inch, or you 13, where?
Are you 13? You are 13. I already gave away the 13s.
Yes. We all know this, but you.
These are 12s. These are 12s. Who's our 12s? Oh, I can't choose. I want the audience to choose who it is. And I don't know how to do this.
All right. We're gonna hold on. We're gonna do high number. We're gonna do whoever has the highest number. Oh. What's your number? 28. 28? Yeah, good luck. Where's the other 12? 48? Can a 12 beat a 48?
139.
All right. Who is it? What's the highest?
141.
141? 143. Can anyone beat 143 with a size 12 shoe? We got it. Okay. All right.
I mean, come on, folks, this ain't the Price is Right. We're doing the best we can do. I wish I had that wheel we could spin. That would be
We got two more. Here we go. 83.
Who's got number 83 for the Great Dragon?
83, all right.
Great Dragon, great man over there.
The lovely Tyler Payne.
Find out his name. What's your name, sir?
Michael and Atticus.
Michael?
Atticus.
Atticus.
Michael Atticus?
And Atticus.
Oh, Michael and Atticus. All
Did
right.
you guys fly in?
We're from Cleveland.
Oh, okay.
Question stands.
I was just wondering what it would be like to get through TSA with a freight dragon. It's just a freight dragon.
All right, we got one more. Here we go. 109.
109.
109.
What's your name? What's your name? Gordon?
Corey. Congratulations, Corey.
There you go. That's all. And you guys, some of those numbers on the back of your Forest Moon stickers. The Forest Moon Festival is happening next weekend, May 28th through May 31st in Humboldt and Delaware counties in California, where Star Wars Return of the Jedi was actually filmed. The Ewok footage, the speeder bike chase. There's going to be screenings all weekend long of Return of the Jedi, Spaceballs, A Disturbance in the Forest, live music, celebrity guests, Kevin Thompson, Matt Nikovitz, Kyle Newman, and there'll be even a Star Wars comic book expert you can ask questions to. There's live Q&As, cosplayers, and so much more. Visit forestmoonfestival.org for more information. It's happening next weekend, Forest Moon Festival, where fandom meets the forest. forestmoonfestival.org. They sent us some other swag we'll be giving away at the after party, some patches and stuff like that. Jason just got handed a honey-baked ham. Ham. Nobody loves ham like this young man. Whenever the holiday season happens, Jason will only participate if ham is present.
Is there going to be ham?
I can't believe somebody actually.
That's amazing. That's the best gift ever.
Can I tell you the word? I put
Was it RPG? Boy, that was a crazy RPG session. Oh, that was a nutty one. Unfortunately, our friend Baby Belushi couldn't be here with us this weekend. He had to bail at the last minute, some work-related mishap, and he couldn't make it, but he sends along his best for Sorrentino, and it was one of those type of RPG sessions.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
All right, I got it. Well, I got good news and bad news. The bad news is we got to wrap this up. So we're going to cue music, but the great news is we're going to be carrying the party over with us to the Hofbrauhaus. So now that we've all going to start at 8:30, so make sure that you get a wristband and let you into the reception area where we're going to hang out. We got some posters for you guys, and we'll sign some stuff if you want us to do that. But this has been a great time. Is there anything? Do you hear anything? Should I just keep going? All right, how about something like that's going to wrap things up for us here at Rebel Force Radio and the Mandalorian and Grogu after. Thank you all so much for being here. See you next week.
The Battle of the Minutes.
Continue this conversation, I'm sure, into the days, the weeks, the months ahead here at Rebel Force Radio. That's what we do. We devour the new Star Wars storytelling, and we make sure that we continue looking at it, reviewing it, analyzing it, and sometimes our opinions change over the years. But no after show would be totally official without final thoughts from Jimmy Mack.
Oh, final thoughts. Well, there's a lot I really loved about this movie. I know some people are disappointed because it didn't quite live up to their expectations and they wanted some earth-shaking, epic tale told that's, you know what really bothers me?
Everything?
Is fans who say, I didn't learn anything. I didn't learn anything. Hey, moron, go to a library and read a book if you want to learn something. I want to have a good time. I'm going to see The Mandalorian and Grogu a third time. Yeah! And probably a fourth time. I liked it so much more the second time I saw it. After liking it a lot the first time. I was to be prepared for it and know when your favorite moments are coming up. That's what made the movie really rewarding for me the second time I watched it. And I really loved you're going to make fun of me for saying this, but I enjoyed the love that we shared between Mando and Grogu. It's like a father-son kind of thing. It made me feel really good. I'm a dad. I got my sons here, and I appreciate that and respect that. And it made me feel good. In a very similar way that last year's Superman movie was sort of this feel-good movie of the year, I think this kind of follows in the same footsteps, where people, a genuinely going audience, can go to see this film and they can take a lot out of it without being super fans, without being crushed under the burden of the history, of the mythology and the storytelling and everything, and just have a good time with the movies again. I mean, since the pandemic, nobody's been having fun at the movies. Now we're back and we're having a good time. And thank you, Mandalorian and Grogu, for bringing back all of the things that I remember being great about the movie-going experience.
And it's so appropriate that we use Star Wars that we bring that back. And the passion and the love in this room is so infectious. Thank you all so much. From the bottom of our hearts, thank you all so much. And we'll see you next time. Thank you for being out later. For Rebel Force Radio, I'm Jason.
I'm Jimmy Mack.